Hi, my name is Teresa Bruni, and I am the healer at Less Fear, More Flow. Today, I'd like to talk to you about dealing with toxic family members. I'm recording this just a couple of weeks before the Christmas holiday season. This is an especially stressful time for so many people. And if you've listened to me before, then you're well aware of the fact that stress causes illness. So this is a really important video for you to watch, especially if you're already anticipating trouble during the holidays. Okay. From the outside looking in, other families may look perfect, but that's often not the case. None of us are perfect. We all have our flaws. We all have our weaknesses and our strengths. And so when we're combined into a group, it's highly unlikely that that group is perfect. So first, keep that in mind. If you are the member of a toxic family, know that there are many, many other people who are as well. So you're not alone. And that's why I'm recording this video for you. Okay. So the first thing to do is to set the proper expectations. And that begins again with realizing that each of your family members, including in-laws, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, cousins, grandkids, so on and so forth. Everyone has their unique personality, and those personalities have been shaped and groomed from a lifetime of experiences. And oftentimes when we go home, we fall right back into the same patterns that we had as children. And that's usually where the trouble begins. You might be a high-powered CEO at work, but when you go home for the holidays, you're the youngest and you're still treated like the baby. And we don't really like that. So that's where some of the trouble can begin. So it's really important to set the proper expectations. Try to open your mind and look at all of the individuals in your family unit as the individuals that they are. Ask yourself, if I didn't know this person and I met them for the first time today, what might I notice about them that I actually like? Try it, okay? The next thing I'd like to talk about is wiping the slate clean. You know, as we grow up and become adults, we have lots of things that happen over the course of our lives with our family specifically, and oftentimes we can hold grudges. We can resist forgiving things that happened in the past. And as long as we're holding on to that negative energy, we're going to open ourselves up to drawing more of that negative energy toward us. So consider just wiping the slate clean and starting from ground zero. Holding on to grudges and resisting forgiveness only hurts you. So consider that. And if you need help with that, reach out to a professional who can help you do that. I've got some great techniques that I use with my clients for forgiveness. Again, let go of your expectations of what you expect from your family members, whether it be good or bad. There's an old saying that goes, it's not people who disappoint us. It's our expectations of people that disappoint us. So don't set your expectations too high. Maybe don't even set any expectations at all. Just be open to and allow people to be who they are, and maybe you'll be surprised at what happens. Remember that the only person you have the power to change is yourself. So changing your life and changing your relationships starts with you. And that's a responsibility that each and every one of us needs to take. Now, not everybody in your family is going to be willing to take that responsibility, but there are things that you can do for yourself and able to make this journey easier. Probably the number one most important thing that you can do is to set proper boundaries. Some of my clients don't even understand the concept of boundaries. Now, I remember as a kid, we used to draw a line in the sand and dare each other to cross that line, right? Because that was the boundary line. Boundaries are similar to that, only, not to that extreme. Boundaries are about what we will tolerate and what we will not tolerate. And it's important to have really healthy boundaries. The fact is, we train people how to treat us. And so when they cross those boundaries, usually it's because we've let them do it before. And so now they have a pattern, they know what they can get away with. So when you start to set new healthy boundaries, knowing what you will tolerate and what you will no longer tolerate, give people a chance to change. If you just burst through the door with all these new boundaries and expect people to change, you're going to be very disappointed. Again, we teach people how to treat us. So it's a matter of retraining people how to treat us. And you can be kind as you go about doing that. And I'm going to give you some techniques to help you do that as well. Okay, let's talk about some techniques. The first technique I'd like to talk to you about is one that I developed for myself, and I call it the love bubble. It's highly effective. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine called me. She was a director at a local hospital, and she had gotten a new boss. And this boss was incredibly toxic. She was just mean to everyone. My friend reached out to me and she said, "What do I do?" So I taught her how to use the love bubble, which I'll teach you in a second. And a couple of days later, I reached out to her and I said, "How's it going?" And she said, "It's amazing. She treats everybody else the same way, but she treats me differently. It worked." So this technique really does work. And you can try it with me right now if you'd like to. Pick someone who you find really stressful to be around. Close your eyes and envision a great big bubble. It can be iridescent, like the bubbles you blew as a child. It can be a particular color if you'd like it to be. It can be like a very thin balloon, however you want the bubble to be. And this is a bubble of pure, unconditional love. Now, with your eyes closed, put this person who stresses you in that bubble and soak them with unconditional love. If you're getting ready for a holiday visit and you want to put the entire family in that bubble, you can do that as well. And when you feel as though that person or those individuals are completely saturated with unconditional love, do your best to step inside that bubble with them. And now you're all being saturated with unconditional love. Hold that for just as long as you'd like. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. This is a beautiful technique. It's easy to use. You can do it if you've had a disagreement with someone. You can use it with a boss or a coworker. You can use it with the rude cashier at the local store. it works. Okay, congratulations on completing that exercise. Let's move on to step number 2. If you're in a room full of conversation, there's always that person who knows where your buttons are, and they like to push your buttons, right? We all have that happen to us from now and again. And so the best thing you can try to do, there's a number of things that we're going to talk about that you can do. Number 1 is change the subject. So you might say, oh, look, somebody just lit the tree, or, distraction. Distraction is one of the greatest techniques you can use to diffuse a situation. You'll take their power right away. And again, this is all about retraining people how to treat us, what we will accept and what we will not accept as proper behavior. If that doesn't work for you, say as little as possible. Don't be rude, but just say as little as possible and try not to ignite the situation. Another thing you might do is just agree with them and say, you know what, you're right. I do see that in myself sometimes. That'll take the steam out of their balloon. And if it doesn't, if they feed on that, then the other thing that you can do is you can just excuse yourself. You can say, I need to use the restroom. I'll be right back. Go in the restroom, take a few deep cleansing breaths, get yourself centered. Remind yourself that you are a pure, loving being created by God, by the universe, by universal love. And you have the power to cope with these situations. Then when you're composed, you can go back into the room and maybe change seats, avoid that person, talk to someone that you do enjoy, anything like that. Another technique that I teach my clients is to take what I call the 10,000-foot view. So if you can imagine that you're removing yourself from the situation and draw your lens back and look down upon that unit, maybe you're all sitting at the dinner table, or maybe you're in the living room around the tree opening gifts, and look down upon that situation as if you're an alien, or again, I call it either the alien view or the 10,000-foot view. And observe, watch what people are doing, watch how they're interacting. It'll open your eyes to a lot, okay? And you'll notice that some people are acting out of their insecurities. And when you recognize that, it's easier to extend love and understanding toward them. So try the 10,000-foot view. Don't expect anyone to be perfect. And that includes yourself. As I talked about in the very beginning of this video, none of us are perfect, and none of us come from perfect families. So again, cut people some slack, know that none of us are perfect, and usually on any given day, we're all doing the best that we can. If there are people in your family that you feel are true troublemakers, understand that there's something going on within them that's causing them to be mean. Happy people are not mean to other people. So again, open that lens, take that 10,000-foot view and ask yourself, what could be bothering them that's causing them to treat me in such a way? Doesn't mean you need to put up with it. You could still use some of the other techniques, such as distraction, or simply excusing yourself and walking away. You don't have to put up with it. At the end of the day, it's only love that can settle these types of situations. And so when you are willing to love unconditionally, you'll begin to see that other people change too. That's why the love bubble is such a great technique. And if by chance you have truly toxic people in your family, There are some narcissists, or maybe there are people who have hurt you in ways that maybe you've forgiven, but you want to make sure that those things never happen again. Then just don't go. You have the right to say no. You can just simply make an excuse and say, I can't make it. I do what I call loving from afar. There are people that I choose not to associate with, yet I still love them and recognize them as one of God's creations, just as I am one of God's creations. However, I'm not going to put myself in harm's way, so I simply love from afar. Okay. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below the video. If you enjoyed this video and you got value out of it, hit that like button, share it with a friend. Maybe you have some friends who you know are going to have a stressful time over the holidays. Remember, you can use this video for any holiday, not just the Christmas holidays, but also remember, stress is higher during the Christmas holidays. Hit the subscribe button and then click that little bell so that you get notified as I release more videos. My goal is to help you live a happy, healthy, abundant life. So for now, be well.